safe and tranquil beside the Pope's flagship. A great calm now covers the sea, and that's the end of his vision. This calm, of course, is the time of peace, which we are talking about. Repeated at Fatima by the Queen of Prophets. His Holiness Pope Pius XI spoke of the coming of the time of peace in this way. This was on the 29th of April, 1938. He said, "How I envy the young, especially the very young who still have a long future before them. We have seen many events, but they will see such beautiful things. For them, perhaps, the immediate future will be harsh and bitter. But the final outcome cannot fail. Even counting only on the short itinerary of a human life, how many beautiful things you will see, my dearest children." 9 years later, Pope Pius XII referred to the harsh and bitter sufferings facing the human race, when he said these words, "Mankind must prepare themselves for suffering such as it has never before experienced." And in saying this, the Vicar of Christ was echoing the voice of our Lord himself. 1 year earlier, on Maundy Thursday, 1946 that is, our Lord had appeared to Greta Ganserfurt in Hede, in West Germany. I want to point out, of course, that these are apparitions approved by the Church, which we are allowed, therefore, to believe in. Our Lord said, "It is 5 minutes to 12. I am standing at the door. Mankind will lament. My love conceived this work before the creation of the world. Men do not listen to my voice. They harden their hearts and resist my grace. They do not wish to have anything to do with my mercy, my love, my merits. Mankind is worse than it was before the flood. It is suffocating in sin and living in great darkness. I would destroy this generation, but because of the just, I let my mercy prevail. Through the wounds that now bleed, mercy will again gain victory over justice. But let my faithful not sleep like the disciples on Mount Olivet. Indeed, let them constantly draw satisfaction for themselves and for others from the treasure of my merits. Let them prepare for tremendous events. That which will soon happen will greatly surpass what has already taken place." Remember, this was in 1946, after over 50 million people had been killed by the war. "What will come about," our Lord continued, "will be more terrible than anything that has been seen since the beginning of the world. I am coming soon, very soon. It will be terrible, like an abbreviated last judgment." Our Lord continued, "The Mother of God and the angels will take part. Hell thinks that now his victory is sure, but I will snatch it from his hand. Many curse me, and I must therefore allow misfortunes to fall down on the world, since thereby very many will be saved. Blessed are those who bear everything in reparation for those who offend me. I am coming, and with me will come peace. With a small number I will build my reign. This reign will come suddenly, sooner than is thought. My dear children, the hour is drawing near. Pray without ceasing. You will not be deceived. I will reunite my elect. They will come together from every part of the world. I am coming. Blessed are those who are prepared. Blessed are those who await me." This passage, incidentally, answers two extremely important questions. Punishment is postponed, as it has been in the last 40 years of false peace, because of the just, because of the prayers of the just. At the same time, punishment is allowed by our Lord because by this means many souls are saved for eternity who otherwise would be lost. These different prophecies and messages from heaven all agree with what Our Lady revealed at Fatima, namely that a time of peace, the triumph of Jesus and of his Holy Mother, is coming to the world very, very soon, and that just before this transformation of the world, there will be a terrible suffering for all mankind, such as has never been experienced in the whole history of the human race. Our Lady, as we have seen at Fatima, used the word annihilation to describe its effects. Let us now return to Zachary. He continues by saying that hell will not be allowed to accomplish everything that it desires, because God has placed a time limit upon its activity. But for the time of iniquity, which is carefully measured out by our Lord, the dragon, says Zachary, receives all the strength it needs, boldness, courage, energy, and in a special manner seduction and deceit. But despite appearances, and no matter how threatening the communist Leviathan may seem, we should in fact reflect that it is in reality but a dog on a leash, like its master Satan, whose ultimate defeat is certain and irrevocable. And I saw something that astonished and frightened me, continues Zachary. All the dragon's tongues, which looked like serpents' tails, divided into two and spread out in opposite direction, some towards the west and the others to the east. And from these two sides they reached out across the seas and enveloped the whole world as if in a net. This part of Zachary's prophecy has again come true. Looking ahead some 1.5 centuries, Zachary spoke the truth. Throughout the world, the philosophy of Marx is pursuing its bloody and fratricidal path, and everywhere it goes, suffering inevitably follows. Zachary continues, and from each side the tongues went across the two great seas to find a people of the new world, to whom they said, now the two of us can have both worlds. And the new world replied, yes. O blind and mad people that you are, cries Zachary, when that time comes, there will be many evils in you which will drag you to your ruin. For you will not see the lying and hypocrisy of the tongues. You will not understand that the dragon only wants to use you in order to deceive you and later to subjugate you as well. What is Zachary saying here? He seems to be indicating some sort of unholy alliance between the American West and communism. Now, continues Zachary, as soon as the people of the vast and proud new world were seduced by the tongues and came to the assistance of the dragon with their land and sea forces, Satan, the devil, and the man on the great throne smiled in baleful joy and said together, it is done. Let us move forward. At the same time, a voice coming from the chasms of the motionless ocean, a strident and fierce voice, a voice of anger and revenge, a voice of the fate of Aquilon, replied, it is done. Let us move forward. Then the monster, the son of hell, stood up on its feet, both front and back. For the first time the whole mass of its belly rose up and displayed itself, and the immobile center, where the hand of the devil had silently labored, moved and changed its position, brought out its missiles. Yes, that's Zachary's own words. And roaring frightfully, spewed blazing whirlwinds from its gullet. Then plunging into the tenebrous seas, it crossed them, destroyed all the opposing shores, and spread out rapidly to the four corners of the earth, like the wings of a foul tempest. As for the people of the New World, whose exaggerated ambitions and secular projects had rendered not just guilty but also blind and insane, I saw, said Zachary, that after an horrific struggle between the strong and the strong, the proud New World as well fell into the dragon's clutches, and was rewarded with dreadful bondage as the price for its mad cooperation with the dragon. With it, continues Zachary, all the people of those places grown old too soon with their civilization and depravity, together with all the islands of the two limitless seas which envelop the globe from east to west, fell under the domination of the firstborn of hell. There are others who have said the same thing, not just Zachary. For instance, when the American author William Walsh visited Sister Lucia, the surviving seer of Fatima, he asked her if the whole world would fall under the communist yoke, and she said yes.